104.7 The Cave, your local live sports talk show. I got some good news for everybody. This is our last Monday night. We'll be gone next week. You'll hear us on Thursday night because the NFL season starts in 10 very short days. It doesn't seem possible, Ned. Can you believe it?
Bring it on. Bring it on. I think everybody
right.
is ready for it. I think we need to have the pro football season going. It is going to be limited attendance, but hey, that's part of the deal. That's where we are, and hey, I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Let's stay on a positive note tonight. Stormy, how are you? What's going on?
I'm doing great. It was a good week. Nice, relaxing weekend for me. We were off from the football scene for my team, so we had a bye week. So we've got another one this weekend. So nice time to relax.
John, how are you? Sorry about that, Stormy.
Okay, I'm going to echo what a lot of people are probably saying. Monday's almost over, and it's downhill from here.
That's right. Yeah, it's just going to get better from here. We're 10 days away from the start of the season, which you can hear right here on 104.7 The Cave. The Chiefs will take on the Texans. They have a tough game to start the season. They have a tough schedule because they are the Super Bowl champs. So that's something to talk about to start out the show. You've looked over the Chiefs' schedule. What do you think, Ned? What's your thoughts on it?
I can see them not going undefeated. I don't think that's going to happen. But the fact is that they're still a very good football team. Repeating as a Super Bowl champion is not the easiest thing in the world to do because of the variables involved in any kind of concussive sport like a football, a hockey, whatever the case might be. And indeed, in this case, the Chiefs do have all the component parts to make it work. They may be a little bit light, maybe, even though the Edwards-Helaire kid is a solid running back, not very big. They may need a little bit of depth at running back. And there is a man out there who has just been sliced today from his team, Leonard Fournette, All-America, three-time All-America LSU, Jacksonville Jaguars, outstanding running back. I'm really anxious to see if the Chiefs make a play for him. It'll be difficult because it's going to be very expensive, and they have salary cap problems on the Chiefs. But they've also done some marvelous things, and indeed, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I do think Kansas City has an outstanding championship-level team.
They've got some great mathematicians in that front office. So.
Yes, they do.
Stormy, your thoughts on the upcoming season?
Well, they kick off the season with the Texans, the Chargers, and the Ravens, and that's a pretty dangerous trifecta to kick off a season with, coming on a football roller coaster like they have been with the Super Bowl championship and everything else. So they'll see an early test, which I think is good for the team, and just see where everybody's at with three tough opponents like that. I think that's a great way to start for them and get them in the groove of it.
John, your thoughts?
I think you've got to be excited about this upcoming year. I mean, there wasn't a lot that left via free agency. You know, Ned mentioned running backs a little bit thin with Damian Williams opting out of the season. We picked up a pretty good center, and I honestly, just the offensive weapons are staggering for this team. You know, unfortunately, the Super Bowl is not won on paper, so we still have to see if they remain healthy, but it's a lot to be excited for Kansas City fans.
They've got a tough schedule. I mean, Stormy talked about the first three games. Houston, the Chargers, and the Ravens. Those are all going to be tests. But then afterwards, it doesn't really get much easier because they get the Patriots. And it'll be interesting to see how the Patriots look this season with Cam Newton as their quarterback. Buffalo Bills, a lot of people are talking about them being an improved team. They'll play the Raiders, which is always a rivalry game, and both teams tend to be up for those games. Well, at least the Chiefs do. I don't know the Raiders. Never know what you're going to get. Never know what you're going to get with the Raiders. Denver Broncos, New York Jets, Carolina Panthers. They really don't get a break until that November 1st game, and you never know. The Jets may be much improved this season. So, got a tough schedule. What are your thoughts going into the season?
Well, I think what John pointed out earlier. Again, this is a physical contact sport, and your injury factor just plays an overwhelming part in what happens. You saw last year when Mahomes went down with a knee problem. Well, the Chiefs lost, 2 games at that time, I believe? And the fact remains that he was able to come back and play an instrumental role in their Super Bowl championship. You can't afford, in a sport like football, unless you have a balanced team to the point where you can call on quarterback B to come in and to handle the duties, or running back B, or whatever the case might be. You have to have the depth, and that's where the New England Patriots have always been so good, with the depth that they've had.
Who is quarterback B this season?
I think it's going to be the kid from Michigan. I think he probably has earned that right, and hopefully, not for his sake, but hopefully nobody will be able to see him play at all. But hey, you never know. You never know. Never know what's going to happen.
Stormy, their NFC division that they get this year is a tough one. They've got the Saints, they've got the Falcons. Falcons are kind of up and down, but Carolina Panthers. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it is going to be a tough way to play in that side of the league. No question, it usually is, at least lately. And of course, the Saints, they're finally working out deals with a contract extension on one of their players, and that was the big holdup on him, which people were kind of speculating about. What's this, what's that, and turns out, well, no, that's all it is. It's just an extension. Everything's cool, but it will be tough for him. But this is a whole different season because of that thing we shall not mention. And it's just going to be interesting to see how it plays out with fans and limited fans, because we are a team that thrives on the audience participation at Arrowhead. I mean, that motivates them, that guns them up, and to lose a big chunk of that, or to even lose it completely in some stadiums, we'll have to see how the team deals with it. And the conference play is not going to let up on them because of it. And we got a tough conference to get through. But I want that Lamar Hunt trophy brought back to Kansas City, or kept there.
John, I wanted to ask you this. Initially, one of the bright features of this year's schedule is the Chiefs don't have to go to New England to play the Patriots. Patriots come to Arrowhead, and they miss Tom Brady initially. They get Tom Brady later on in the season at Tampa Bay. Tell me your thoughts on those two games.
It's funny you mentioned that. That was exactly what I had in mind. So, it's traditionally, if you looked at this through this lens we usually look for, week 4 would be scary. And then week 12, I believe, Tampa Bay wouldn't be a big deal. I think that power dynamic shifts. New England is still going to be a good team. I think they'll be fantastic defensively, but we have no idea how Cam Newton's going to be able to lead that offense. So that's still a very much, an X factor, if you will. However, Tampa Bay, no matter how you look at it, yes, age is a factor, but they have Tom Brady. They have Rob Gronkowski. They didn't have them before. And special things can happen around those type of players, and we've seen it time and time again. So to me, the Tampa Bay game is a scarier game to me than the Patriots game would be.
We want to hear from you guys. If you've got a question about the Chiefs or anything sports related or anything life related, give us a call, 863-7104. Ned would be glad to take your calls. Do that as we head into the commercial break. Again, that number, 863-7104, to ask Ned a question. We're going to take those calls here in about 10 minutes as we continue to talk about the season. Ned, I want to get your thoughts, because John touched on it just a second ago, about Cam Newton going to the Patriots and also Tom Brady switching teams and going to Tampa Bay. Who do you think is going to have a better season this year, Bill Belichick or Tom Brady?
Don't put anything past Bill Belichick at all. Nothing. And that is why I'm so impressed with his picking up of Cam Newton. Mm-hmm. Now, Newton's been up and down and had shoulder problems and all this sort of thing, and just really hasn't emerged in recent years. He is big. He's about 6'6". He's rangy. He has proven that he can do things. I just cannot imagine Bill Belichick not knowing fully well that this guy's going to fit into their program and occupy a very key role. I think the Patriots have a great year. Perhaps not as good offensively as John pointed out, but their defense is rock solid. They will be a tough hombre to handle. Tampa Bay will be very tough. We haven't brought this out because he's not going to be a key figure, but Shady McCoy is on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mm-hmm. He is 32 years old, and he's bounced around and had injury problems and all that. So he's just a stopgap. Their running backs are young, and they're inexperienced. That's why I think they occupy the number one bidding role for Leonard Fournette. I think that's where he ends up.
Let's talk for a second about the AFC West. How do you kind of play this whole thing out? The Chargers, the Broncos, the Las Vegas Raiders. Who's going to be the biggest challenge to the Chiefs this season?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's not the Chargers. They have made some really key moves on their team. Rivers isn't with them anymore, so the thinking has always been that Philip Rivers is going to have that breakthrough year, and he never has. He hasn't come through. So you get Tyrod Taylor on there, and he's tough. He's a tough hombre to handle, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if they don't make a name for themselves. Furthermore, they are going to be playing in the new stadium this year. Now, again, the crowd doesn't figure into this. I must admit, I'm not sure that Los Angeles has made a decision yet for the Rams and the Chargers about fans. Incidentally, you brought that up about the fans. There are 5 NFL teams, 5 that have said point blank, we will allow fans in the ballpark with a certain percentage. The Chiefs, I think the percentage is 25%, so it's 17,600. Really, really expensive tickets, but that's over and above. 5 teams that have point blank said we will have fans. That means that there are, 27 other teams that haven't made the commitment. That's not to say they won't. Now, there are teams that have said they won't. Las Vegas isn't. Baltimore, I don't think, is going to have any. But I'm anxious to see how all this plays out, especially involving the virus and what circumstances occur here in the next couple of weeks or months. Does it make a big difference? It may. It may very well.
Stormy, who do you think is the biggest challenge in the AFC West?
I'm going to agree with Ned on it. I think the Chargers are basically for the same reasons, because it's a more solid, put-together team than we've seen in the past few years, and because it's one of those rivalries that the rivalry itself just brings out things in the teams that they won't normally see in other games. And that's the one that concerns me the most, because they've made the most changes in trying to improve and trying to get better, and at least from what I've seen. You've got several of the Raiders who have opted out of the season already. They had quite a few on that team that did. And so, not really sure what to see there. So that'll be kind of a surprise game. We'll see how they come through that. But the Broncos is just kind of a consistent challenge. It's high or low challenge, whatever it is, but I think the one that's going to be the tough one will be the Chargers.
John, your thoughts?
As much as I want to be different on this, I don't think I can be. I mean, the Chargers
Good thing we still don't have that drinking game.
Right. Obviously, the class of the AFC West behind the Chiefs. Denver's still got, love him if you want to, but, Drew Lock, is he really going to be the answer for them to, lead them into a winning record this year? You have to question that. And, as Stormy mentioned, the Raiders with the players opting out, they do have a lot of good young talent, though, so they could be surprising. You just never know. But, I mean, to me, the Chiefs are head and shoulders above the rest of their division, but San Diego will prove troublesome.
The Raiders do have one kid who the Chiefs covet, Henry Ruggs, the All-American from Alabama.
Yes.
He is probably the fastest man in the entire draft, which makes him, when you consider that Edwards-Belair is on the Chiefs, makes him very, very tough to cover.
Yes.
The Chiefs' defensive backfield is going to have their work cut out for them, not just with him, but with a lot of other teams that are able to perhaps exploit that deficiency.
We're going to take your calls here in just a few minutes. So if you've got a question for Ned or Stormy or John, 863-7104, give us those calls as we head into the commercial break. Ned, I want to talk to you about this because all our panel here, we're all in agreement about the Chargers. The Chargers have been a darling pick for a decade. People have said, the Chargers, and they've never lived up to it. Do you think that's a product of the team or a product of possibly Philip Rivers?
What we talked about just a second ago, Joe, with Philip Rivers having been on there, they were always going to be the up-and-coming ball club, and everybody was going to watch out for this ball club because he was going to come on. Well, he never did emerge, and he's not a kid anymore.
Oh, no.
So he's been dealt away now, and Tyrod Taylor, who maybe he's just a stopgap, but he is also a very good triple threat quarterback because he can run. He's very tough. He's an old pro. He's been around. In fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Taylor broke Vic's records at Virginia Tech, if I'm not mistaken. But be that as it may, that team is dangerous. They have all the weapons, and the fact that they have new leadership now, and the fact that they are playing in a brand new stadium. The psychological effect on that team, after having been in a soccer place
Oh, yeah.
for a while, that had to have been debilitating in their mental approach to a game. What they have, 27, 28,000, that's a big crowd. Well, they won't have any now, but they're in a glorious palace.
Well, then like half of the fans there were not even Chargers fans. They were just people there to see the other team or whatever. We'd love to hear from you. We want to answer your questions. We'll ask you questions, too, if you want. Give us a call, 863-7104. It is your show. We're turning it over to you. If you've got a question for Ned, Stormy, or John, we'd love to hear from you. 863-7104. It's Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave.
Ned is in the house.
Everyone can just calm down.
It's Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave.
I have to be honest with you guys. Ned's sitting here in the studio. He's weeping because nobody called. He's ready to answer your questions, and you let him down. So we have to find out something else. You have to listen to us make up something to talk about for this next segment. If you think of a question, the answer is the phone number is 863-7104. Let's talk a little baseball. Ned, today was the one of the landmarks, one of the benchmarks for the baseball season, the trade deadline, and yawn.
Exactly 1 month beyond what it will be when they play 162 games again, as opposed to July 31st, August 31st this year. Now, the rule about not making any deals afterward, the waiver deal, that was gone last year. You couldn't do it. So, obviously, it's in effect now. So, the deals are done. They are done. The Cardinals decided to stay pat. They're not going to make any moves at all, and I do understand that. I would have been a little bit surprised had they done so, because they do have a young team, a team that's getting better. They're leading 2-1 this evening against the Cincinnati Reds, and a team that has begun to find their groove a little bit. So the fact that they were able to maintain what they were going to do and take that into the off season and work on the building of their squad from the offseason without adding any new names today or whenever, I think is very important to them. Cardinals don't have too bad a team. I think they're going to make the playoffs. How they'll make it and where they end up. After all, there are 16 teams in the postseason. There's no way the Cardinals won't be one of them. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
A lot of giggling going on in the studio right now because we do have a caller, but we take calls during the commercial break. So just hang on with us for a few minutes, and we'll get to you. So give us a call as we go into the commercial break. That number, 863-7104. I know, I begged for callers, and then this is what I get. I'm telling you not to call right now. Stormy, your thoughts on the trade deadline?
Again, it was not just, there was no big surprises, no big trades that, blew the roof off anybody's house. And, so yeah, yawn is the word for it. It's like, okay, that they did that, and we're going, yeah, we did have some.
I'm going to argue with you just a little bit. I think the Clevenger kid going to the San Diego Padres is really big, and Mitch Moreland going from the Boston Red Sox to San Diego. Our guy, Trevor Rosenthal, the San Diego Padres really did great here in the last couple of days.
But as far as the trade deadline for today, usually you have some last-minute thing that everybody's like a wow factor for, and we didn't get one this year. But as we talked about before the show started, San Diego is stacking the yard right now and just doing a great job, and I certainly didn't expect the Padres to be a name I would talk about in such high fashion this part of any season almost.
They've been coming
Not
on.
since Dave Winfield, I think, but
John, I wanted to talk to you about what I thought was one of the biggest moves of the day, and that's Todd Frazier going back to the New York Mets.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that'll be a game changer.
Oh, my gosh. Todd Frazier with the Mets again. So what do you think about the Cardinals staying pat?
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, in his usual, laugh-a-minute way, Mozeliak kind of hinted to this. They do have a lot of people coming back from the COVID injured list. They've got a lot of arms coming back that are getting healthy. So I think they could have improved? Yes, but would it have been worth the cost? Ned makes a good point. I mean, they are a playoff team at this stage. Yes, they're slightly under 500, but they've played well at times. It's just that matter of finding consistency. San Diego, if you're a San Diego Padres fan, be excited because you have to be really impressed about them going all in. I mentioned Fernando Tatis Jr. last week. picking up Mike Clevenger, picking up Trevor Rosenthal, who looks great, just Mitch Moreland, and to an already pretty good team. It's going to be interesting to see what they do.
They are, John, one of the better teams in Major League Baseball. Are they the best? Well, the Dodgers are the ones that have the best record, but certainly San Diego is right up there. They have considerable talent. Oakland, although Oakland is not playing at the moment.
That's true.
They have a COVID-19 problem, so they're off for the next couple of days. But they're a really, really good baseball team, and don't sell the Houston Astros short.
No,
they are they are the Astros, and they can do a lot of things, a lot of good things. So there are some solid baseball products who are going to be competing in that playoff situation. And then the fact that there are 16 teams and anything can happen.
Oh, wide open.
I was going to talk to you about this, Ned, because my beloved team is New York Yankees, and they got off to a great start, and then they've been hurt, and they can't beat Tampa Bay to save their life. So I've pretty much given up on them this season.
Joe, that's not a surprise. Tampa Bay is an outstanding ball club. In fact, on this very show, back, I think it was before we had the COVID-19 shutdown, we talked about them in spring training. They were a team to watch out for, a powerhouse ball club, and that's not just some pipe dream put out by the Rays publicity staff. They are really good, and it's being proven now.
Let's talk about that for a second, because they do things, and they've done it consistently for a number of years, very similar to Oakland, where they kind of fly under the radar. I challenge any of you on the panel here to name 4 Tampa Bay Rays right now. Anybody? Can you?
I think I can do it.
Do it right now.
Wander Franco, Austin Meadows, Tyler Glasnow, Randy Arozarena.
You didn't even name the guy that won the Cy Young, whose name escapes me right now. I can't think of his name right
Blake
now.
Snell.
Yeah, Blake Snell. Yeah, you didn't even name
but
him.
I mean,
You're a baseball dork.
Yeah, most people probably don't know that many.
You forgot Steve.
Steve?
Yeah, everybody knows Steve.
Oh,
Everybody knows Steve.
Yeah.
So
Randy Arozarena. How about that old Springfield Cardinal down there?
Mm-hmm.
That's very good.
But they've flown under the radar, doing things in a little bit of a different way, and they do it consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And they prove that a small market team that plays in a toilet can win baseball games.
Well, they can, and it's not something new. They have been a consistent playoff team here the last number of years now. They haven't always gotten in. Heck, was it 2009? They and the Philadelphia Phillies played in the World Series.
Yep.
Come on, it's a good program. Good ball club.
Absolutely.
I think the point of the season, Stormy, right now at this point, is it's still pretty much wide open.
It is. I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities. Vegas has still got the Dodgers and the Yankees in the top 2 spots.
They can't beat the Rays, so forget it.
I'm just going by what they've got so far. But just so you know, they've added Japan League baseball to their odds along with South Korea. So now you can cover that too if you just in case you want to bet on something a little unusual. But no, I mean there's some teams, and of course the Pirates are still down at the bottom of the heap with them at least out there, which is not really a surprise given how they've been doing so far this year.
Yeah.
So, but I just think it's just interesting to see that we've got a team that is doing the step-up thing and giving us a surprise with San Diego. Because, I mean, who the heck would have picked the Padres to be the team that's, oh, my gosh, that's who we're talking about, and I think that's a good thing for them, and hopefully it's a good thing for the fans out there.
Don't make fun of Korean League baseball, because when I fill in for Mike, Ned and I watch Korean League baseball. We do. We sat, and just to get a little baseball action, we're watching it. John, what surprised you about the season so far?
Surprises in the season, just the emergence of so many young stars at this point, and not necessarily the ones I expected. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for the Blue Jays hasn't had a bad year, but a lot of people thought he would be a breakout candidate. Again, Tatis Jr. is just lighting the world on fire for that San Diego club, and you're just seeing a lot of younger guys absolutely come into their own, and it's a shortened season, so granted, some can argue the sample size, if it were spread out over a 160-game season, might be a little bit different, but I found the season intriguing so far. And in a good news story for those who watched the Cardinals over the weekend, I do have to mention in Yadier Molina's 2000th game that he started, Adam Wainwright happened to take the bump for the Cardinals. He threw a complete game shutout on his 39th birthday.
I saw that. That's an amazing story that anybody throws a complete game at this
Anymore,
point,
yes.
and especially a 39-year-old guy. Stormy wanted to talk about, and you guys wanted to, I'll let you guys paint this picture for us, the double play that happened over the weekend.
Gosh.
Well, it's a 2-3-8. It is just...
For those of you scoring at home, each position in baseball has a number. The catcher, the pitcher's 1, catcher's 2, first baseman 3, second 4,
Yes.
third base 5, shortstop 6, and outfield left to right 7, 8, 9.
Right. And this is just a number put together that I don't remember ever even reading ever happened in baseball. And I think they've pretty much confirmed it's never happened in recorded baseball of the major leagues. And just to watch it, you see Yachty and his control not just of the ball but of the field and his general communication with his players. It shows what an incredible field general he is. I mean, just spectacular. And
then the next day, he's rounding third and decides he's going to play umpire and stops, which you never, ever do in baseball.
Let's not talk about the 3 base running miscues.
Oh, God.
One thing for Cardinals fans to take note of in that play is I think it's an interesting passing of the guard. As Stormy mentioned, Molina is that field general. But who came in? Who was the 8 that came in to make that play at second base? None other than Dylan Carlson.
All right, break it. You guys have talked about it, but you haven't broke it down for us. How did it all play out?
Boy, that's tough for me to say because there was so much going on, Joe. I've only seen it a couple of times. I mean, it was a pickle.
So YouTube it is what you're saying, telling people?
I would really.
Yes.
This is one you probably have to see to believe. So, but
Stormy, see if you can find that and throw that up on the Ned Talk Facebook page for people to check it out. I get the numbers. I'm just not getting how it worked out in my mind.
It's something to be seen to believe, and something to to look at the hustle of Carlson to come in and make that play from center field.
I have
a lot of guys trail that play.
I have the perfect comparison to this. If anybody remembers the old Disney Goofy cartoons where they were trying to explain sports through it, and basically the lines and the X's and O's ended up just basically all over the field. That's what we'd end up telling you over the line, and trying to explain how this works verbally without getting into a visual aspect of it.
I'll tell you exactly what it was. It's a hit out to center field, and Carlson gets the ball. The runner is rounding third and ready to come in and score. He sees he's going to be out, so he stops, turns around. Yachty chases him down, dekes him back to third. Guy doesn't buy the deke. Yachty tags him. The other guy, the runner on second base, is caught off base. He starts to head back. Yachty dekes deke is the word for fake.
Yeah.
Fakes one way, gets this guy off stride, fires to second base, out there, and I think that's where Carlson was.
And that's a center fielder who come in to trail that play. Now, who made the throw into Molina?
I think it was.
That was Carlson.
So that's it. So it's an 8-2-5. And did it go back to Molina at that point?
No, Molina had it once. He made the tag on the guy around third.
So 8-2.
And the tag on the guy. No, he didn't either. He flipped it to somebody and made the out at second base.
So it's an 8-2-8? Is that what you're talking about there?
It may be.
Or was it an 8-2-5-8?
I'd forgotten that Carlson was the one that made the throw in.
They've got it listed as a 2-3-8, I believe.
But that 8's got to be there in the first because he's got the assist.
Gets the assist.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, a 3-2-8 is what they've.
So you're enjoying us talking about numbers as we do Ned Talk, but we'd love to hear from you. Give us a phone call. That phone line is open right now. Now is the time to call. Light up. 863-7104.
You're just trying to will that thing over.
That guy that called a minute ago while we were talking. You can call right now. 863-7104. It's Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave. There he is.
Hello?
Hey. Hi. Hello?
The phone lines are open now for your sports questions at 417-863-1047. It's Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave.
It's Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave, your local live sports talk show. I begged, and Maria came through. Maria, how are you this evening?
Just fine.
You're out on the road as a trucker. Thank you for doing that. I mean, that's got to be, a kind of a dangerous job. Always a dangerous job, but more so with the way the world is right now. So thanks for doing that. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, you've got a question for Ned. What is your question?
I got a question. and is the Chiefs getting pressure to change their name as much as like Washington Redskins and.
But Murray, that's a very astute question. No, the pressure to change the name is not as great as the Redskins were. The Redskins' nickname or mascot is perceived as being derogatory toward the Native Americans. Chiefs is not derogatory as such. Yes, it is probably Native American influenced, but it is not an insulting term. Now, the Chiefs have bowed to the pressure a little bit and banned headdresses and face painting that is Native American oriented. Now, you can paint your face any other way you want to, but if it has anything to do with Native Americans, then you're out. And there is also a move afoot to stop the tomahawk chop. But I just don't know how in the world that can ever be enforced. What they're going to do is cut off all the music that they play, and hopefully for their sake.
It's wrong.
I
think it's wrong that they're putting any pressure. I mean, these people, the fans are who they are, and there was a reason why they chose those as names.
Marie, I can't argue, and I can't really comment. We'd like to have objective viewpoints on all of this. I can see the argument from either side, but I will tell you, I don't think the pressure on the Chiefs is even comparable to what it was on the Washington Ball Club's circumstance. That has been ongoing for years and years and years. Now, there is a circumstance here in the country in which the Native American influence won out, and that was at Florida State University, where Florida State is the Seminoles, and the Seminole Nation said, we're very proud to have that. So they have retained the Seminoles nickname. But for the most part, the other nicknames have been changed. Red Wolves, replacing Indians, and things of that nature. But as far as the Chiefs are concerned, I will admit to you, I will be very surprised if that name is changed. That answer your question?
Yeah. Why did the Oakland Raiders move to Vegas?
Well, the Oakland Raiders are nomadic, number one. They have been Oakland to Los Angeles, back to Oakland again. Under Al Davis, they were always a kind of carpetbagger type influence, always looking for the best deal. Well, Las Vegas made them a very good deal. The folks in Oakland would not build the Raiders a new stadium. They really do need one. The Oakland Alameda County Coliseum is an old, decrepit ballpark.
It's outdated.
It is outdated. It also has, this is not pleasant to talk about, but they have plumbing problems in the place, and that
Yes.
the plumbing problems have come back to haunt the baseball team as well as the football teams. But fact remains, it's a stadium. The stadium issue didn't ever get approved. So the Raiders said, all right, folks in Las Vegas are building us a new stadium, and they have, and it's a palace. So they have moved the franchise there. However, this year, they're not going to allow any fans in the ballpark, at least for now.
Figures.
Any more questions for Ned, Maria?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, well, you
Maria,
Thank you, Ned.
wait a minute, sweetheart. Wait a minute. Don't hang up yet. I'm just curious. Where are you at the moment?
Right at the moment, I'm passing Sunshine.
Oh, you're in Springfield.
65.
Okay.
Yeah, but there is a emergency detour right there at exit 82 on the westbound side of 60 on 44.
Oh, really?
okay.
Really?
Well, thanks for letting us know that
Probably an accident, I would
and
say.
passing it along to our listeners. Maria, thank you. You be careful
Yeah,
out.
because there's a big old sign up saying that exit 80 is closed. Seek alternate route.
Very good. Very good. Marie, thank you very much for
Marie.
listening to us.
And you be careful out there, okay?
Thank you. Ned, thank you for all your sports commentaries. I've seen you since while I was growing up.
Thank you, Marie.
Yeah, thanks for putting it that way.
Thanks, Marie.
All right,
That's
Marie.
very nice.
Appreciate it. If you got a call for Ned, 863-7104. We, again, are taking your calls. Love to answer questions for people about the upcoming NFL season or talk about what's happening in Major League Baseball or any sports that are going on right now. Ned, we talked briefly, just kind of touched on it there, that the Raiders are moving to Las Vegas this season. And things are different. So how long do you think it's going to take for that market to warm up to that team?
Oh, not at all. No. Not at all. It'll happen right away. The homogenous population circumstance in Las Vegas is such that and Las Vegas is a huge metropolitan area. It includes Henderson and other little towns around there. I think they glom onto that franchise, that team right away, support them right away, and I think it'll be a very big deal. Furthermore, you will have the tourists coming in, and many of them, well, come on, it's Las Vegas. you can wager on the games. And I think that will serve to attract a very large attendance for all their games.
Stormy, you've obviously, you're an internet guy. You've seen all the pictures. Which of the two new stadiums that we're seeing this year, the one in L.A. or the one in Las Vegas, which one is the best of the two?
Boy. I haven't gotten a good look at a lot of the interior of the Los Angeles one yet, but I have for the Vegas one because intentionally me and Mikey were going to go out there for the Raiders game, but it looks just amazing, and from a standpoint of placement and where it's at, the Vegas stadium still has developable land around it. There could be a convention center, hotel type thing easily put to one side of it, and so it's got a lot of great advantages. But a lot of people don't know that Vegas has actually been trying to get an NFL team of some kind for quite a long time, but for years and years, even going back to the late 70s, they said no because they were afraid it was so easily corruptible to gambling or to corruption within the gambling side of it for football or any pro sport to come in there. But I'm glad they finally did. But I want to see more pictures of the new LA stadium for the interior.
The groundwork was laid by the Golden Knights, who went in there and became the NHL team. But they've also been lobbying for Major League Baseball to go in there.
Let's talk about that for a second. Stormy mentioned development in the area. Do you see Major League Baseball or maybe an NBA team coming into that market?
I would see Major League Baseball before the NBA. Just the fact that the minor league team that has been very highly supported over the years. You know, Vegas is one of those towns that always comes up in the conversation. Indianapolis is another town that comes up in that conversation. I think if baseball expands, those are two markets they need to look at. You know, Indianapolis supports the
Nashville
Pirates. Nashville's another great location. I mean, there are cities that definitely could use teams, and not to pick here, but when you look at the attendance for the Marlins and unfortunately the Tampa Bay Rays that we mentioned earlier, who are having such another good season, you just don't see the fans coming out to see them. So could they be better served possibly moving even those teams to other locales?
Ned, where would you like to see the next major league expansion go to? Any sport?
Gosh, I don't know. I haven't really given too much thought to that because Major League Baseball is at 30 teams right now, and there are some that do struggle with attendance and with support. So whether or not they're ready now, Major League Baseball's front office says that they are. National Football League, I really think they're sated right now. I think they have a full scale. NBA, National Hockey League. Picking a city that is devoid of any kind of pro sports at the moment. I would. Well, of course, Nashville does have
the Predators.
They have the Predators in there, and they also have the Tennessee Titans. I don't know. I do not know.
Been a lot of support over the years for seeing possibly a team in Portland as far as Major League Baseball goes. I know that's been something that's talked about.
They are running themselves right out of the ballpark right now for anybody.
They're having trouble. Yeah, I know that for sure. So it's something that it'd be interesting to see how all that plays out as it goes along, because I think you're going to see maybe some expansion in sports over the next couple of years, because it's always a nice little kick in the butt for the sport. If you've got a question for us, give us a call, 863-7104. It's Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave.
What's your phone call frequency?
The phone lines are open now for your sports questions at 417-863-1047. It's Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave.
Go ahead with your call.
Ned is in the house.
I'm back, big as life and twice as ugly.
It's Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave.
That's right. It's Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave. That's right. You do have to turn on the microphone before you can talk into it. We got another caller. It is Brad this time. Brad joins us via the telephone. How are you this evening, Brad?
Doing great.
And you had a question for Ned. What is that question?
Yeah, Ned. This is your old buddy Brad from the Westen.
Oh, good gracious, yes. Are you guys still operating, Brad?
No. Last year we did the whole gig from Coyotes. I had a great time with that. But with social distancing now, it'd be hard to get 100 people together like we used to out in the woods.
We did stories at KY3 on the Wolf Den, and it was that was a heck of an organization, really was.
Yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of friends, a lot of great networking deal. But so I don't know if you actually knew how the Chiefs got their name.
Only the story that I have been told, and it stands to reason this would be the case. They were the Dallas Texans, of course, when they moved to Kansas City. So when the Texans, when Lamar Hunt pulled the plug on Dallas and came up to Kansas City, the fans, and I think it was probably organized by the mayor, H. Rowe Bartle, got together and all had all sorts of contests and so forth and so on. Well, H. Rowe Bartle's nickname was the Chief, and somehow, some way, that got incorporated into the contest itself, and that's what emerged. But basically, it was named after H. Rowe Bartle, by his nickname, the Chiefs, although the fans did offer that as one of the nicknames as well. That's the story I was told.
Yeah, that's right. So I can't slip anything by you.
So you knew the answer, and you were just trying to trip him up.
Now wait a minute.
I like this guy.
Brad,
I knew he probably knew, but named Bartle Hall.
Yep.
We that in Kansas City and Rowe Avenue and stuff. So he was a big proponent on bringing them to Kansas City with Lamar, and so no derogatory name there.
All right, Brad. Here's the deal, though. Now, you made a very high compliment when you said that you can't slip anything. Well, you can, but a glass of Jack is not one of it. Believe me.
Very good, Ned. Well, listen, I always enjoy listening to you, and like always, go Chiefs.
There you go.
Let me ask you this question, Brad. Do you go up to any of the games during the season?
No, not anymore, especially this year. But I usually get one game in. I like that Raiders game.
I was going to ask if you were going to pony up the dough to go see them this season.
I'm not. I've been putting a lot of, been pulling on a few ears here and there to see if we couldn't get some tickets. But no, it's just not, and it's not going to be the same. We're just going to have to, bite the bullet and watch it on TV and not have that much fan attendance, which is a kind of a bad thing because Arrowhead, the loudest stadium in the NFL, and
very true.
It's always been a little home field advantage for us.
Brad, we have to live though with the understanding, and at least this is what I keep going with, the thought that it is temporary. It'll all go away in time, and everything eventually will be back to normal. At least that is the mindset that we have to have. We've never been through this before. So
no, we haven't, and hopefully we don't ever have to again.
God, I hope you're right, man.
Exactly. So thank you, Brad. Be safe out there, and take care of yourself.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you.
And go Chiefs. I want to remind everybody, too, or at least have Ned remind people, that we're coming up next Wednesday on something very important in Chiefs Nation, and that's Red Friday, except it's going to be on a Red Wednesday this time.
Everybody wears red. That's exactly right. The game is on Thursday, of course, but the day before, it's Red Wednesday. And I think, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but is the next game on a Sunday?
I believe so. Yeah, it is Sunday, September 20th, and that's the Chargers game.
They will have a Red Friday on the 18th. And then when do they start?
Then they play the Ravens on a Monday night.
Monday night. There's to be a Monday night game in there too.
Yeah, they've got. Let's see, they've got 2 Thursdays and 1 Monday night game, and then it doesn't. Let's see, they have a Thursday. They have a. I'm looking at the schedule and trying to talk at the same time. After the bye, they have a Sunday night game with the Raiders. They have another Sunday night game with the Broncos. So they don't have it too bad. I mean, as far as being the Super Bowl champs coming back and playing a really rough schedule. The point that I wanted to make to you, as far as time-wise goes, the point that I wanted to make, though, is that it's Red Wednesday, and the area McDonald's have the Chiefs flags this year. They cost $5. They are a flag, as Mike the intern has been pointing out to people, 50 years in the making. They will be on sale that morning at the area McDonald's, and I think they said this morning 55 area McDonald's will be carrying the red flags. Also, the Hy-Vee store will have them too. They're just $5, and all the proceeds for those go to the Ronald McDonald House here in the Ozarks.
We've done this in the past, and as a matter of fact, Mike and I have done our little bit on remote. We'll find out whether or not that's going to be the case this year.
We're not going to do that this year. Mike has set up something that he will be talking with Bonnie, who is the head of one of the people that works with Ronald McDonald House, and he'll be doing that remotely, but you and I will be in the studio on that Wednesday together because Mike kind of has a vacation. But I want to remind everybody that if you want one of those flags, which I know everybody will, you have to get them. That's a week from Wednesday, a week from 2 days from now. And again, it's a great cause. It goes to the Ronald McDonald House right here in Springfield, and they usually sell out. And I would think this year there'll be an even greater need for those flags than they have been in the past. So if you're going to go out and get one, make sure you get there early. Again, area McDonald's, and of course the Ronald McDonald House reaps the benefits of that, and the area Hy-Vee over there on the corner of Kansas and Battlefield. So great cause and a great way to show your support for the Chiefs.
Good.
We had a couple of great callers, a couple of great questions tonight about the Chiefs. Everybody's getting up and excited. Let's wrap the show up on this tonight. Positive note. What are you most looking forward to with the NFL season?
Oh, gosh. A season that is not disrupted by COVID-19. I would be so overwhelmingly pleased if that were the case, and I think there is a good chance that may happen. Then the Chiefs emerging as a solid team, and I think they will. They have everything going for them. But then the real team, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, there we go. He had to do it, folks. He had to do it.
He gave me the opening. Come on.
He did.
Yeah. So, Stormy, what are you looking forward to?
Of course, the Chiefs just being back on the field, getting to see the team back out there, just like with the Lady Panthers, dying to see them take the court. But that, and then just some of the wild card variables we have with Tampa Bay and New England, and what is San Diego going to do, and what's going to happen in Vegas for their first year. I mean, it's going to be worth paying attention to, at least for what's the new keys and factors going to be within the league with all these changes, because we're so used to some of them from the past. So I'm just looking forward to that side of it.
John, your thoughts?
I think what I'm looking most forward to, there's a lot of intriguing storylines, but I always like to see what I like to call the follow-up. So a couple of things we haven't talked about. Lamar Jackson, I want to see what he does following up with the Baltimore Ravens. And, don't forget about Derrick Henry either with the Tennessee Titans. Just went on an epic, historic run last year. Just seeing what those guys can do this season and see if they can match their totals from last year.
I think something that's interesting going into the season is this is probably the least hyped NFL season that I can remember in many, many years. And I think that's because people are holding their breath to see what happens. But I also think that that's good because it just gets us to this kind of the NFL is taking care of their business so far. And I'm excited because next Thursday night, football is going to go up in the air. Football to me is a TV sport. I've never been to an actual game. I've never been to an NFL game, but to a lot of college games. But I'm anxious to see the season start.
There is another factor that you really need to consider, and that is the fact that there are no exhibition games.
That's right.
There's nothing to really whet the appetite on these, and that happens, even though there were only going to be 2 of them this year. The fact that there were none at all, I think probably halted the mindset, or at least disturbed the mindset until you're ready to have it happen. That takes away a lot from the publicity factor and the talking heads on the four-letter network and all that, of dissecting everything that happened in a preseason game, for heaven's sake. Come on. Anyway, that's part of it.
Well, I think that the lack of hype has been good this year because I'm sometimes by the time the NFL season rolls around, I'm tired.
Yes.
And so this year I'm not. So, Ned, thanks for being with us as always.
Always a pleasure.
Stormy?
Great night.
We'll talk
Everybody
to you
have a good week.
in 10 days. John, thank you as always for being here, bringing your insight. Again, we are moving to pregame, and we will be here on a Thursday night. 10 days from now, my voice is changing on me. 10 days from now, and we're going to be here for the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs, and we'll be doing the pregame show.
Tell the folks very quickly how the format operates. We're the pregame, but then there's another pregame.
We're the pregame to the pregame. We're the foreplay to the foreplay. We're the hand holding. Then Mitch Holtis and Art Haynes will do the kissing, and then the Chiefs will do the rest. So,
dear God Almighty, I got to get out of here.
Make sure you
put that in my
make sure
head.
you join us. We are part of the proud Chiefs Radio Network. We're Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave.